Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James. It's time for another installment of Instructive Chess Miniatures. In this game we're going to be seeing my favorite player, Petrosian, getting knocked out by the amazing Boris Spassky. Here we go. We start off with e4, c5, knight f3, d6. Petrosian did like to play his Sicilians, even though he was known as a very cautious player. d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3. a6 here, maybe a little bit too much for him. He goes ahead and plays the nadjorf variation. I know I've tried a few times myself, and even I can't do this. Not to compare myself with Petrosian, but I would think I'm a little bit more aggressive than he is, and even I have a hard time with this one. So, bishop g5, the main line over here. Knight b to d7, bishop c4, and queen to a5. I mean, at this point, you know, Boris Spassky is one of the leading practitioners in this, and even gets some very good games off of Fischer. I mean, this is 1969. The World Chess Championship is in 1972. Queen to d2 got played. Pawn to h6, a very crucial move here that does help out quite a bit. And bishop takes, knight takes, castle's queenside here. It looks like white's doing very good because, well, look, they're castled. They have all their pieces developed. Black, on the other hand, some weird pawn moves here, and, well, the king's still in the center, which has always very much upset me. I don't like to not castle, so this is one of those lines that just doesn't really make sense to me. Pawn e6 gets played, trying to get ready to castle. Rook he1, bishop to e7. Here Petrosian saying, you know what, you put all your pieces in the center, maybe I should castle kingside over here. Pawn to f4, threatening the pawn to e5, very, very common threat. And here Petrosian just goes ahead and castles. And bishop goes back to b3. Always a good idea to have your pieces being protected. Rook to e8, king to b1. Here Grishik says, I don't know why you castle, but I don't know why you play king b1, but it's a rule. Just play king b1 whenever you castle queenside in the Sicilians. And here Petrosian goes ahead and plays bishop f8. And the game looks about evenish to me. I mean, maybe evenish is a little too strong a word. I think that practical meaning that, you know, this is still a chess game. With that being said, white does have a good advantage with all these pieces developed and ready to attack. And, well, you know, Petrosian is pretty much two pieces down here. And, well, I really like this move by Spassky. It's your turn. I want to go ahead and see if you can find the move that Boris found right here. White to move. What do you play here? What is your best move to play here? Hope you push pause. Hope you're trying to figure it out. In this position right here, there's a few good moves to play. One of them being is this e5 move, which I can't say I'm too fond of. I'm not sure what Petrosian would have played here, but I definitely like the idea that happens in the game. Just remember, guys, whenever it's opposite side castling, you want to try and push your pawns forward on opposite sides to try to open up the game. You want to trade off the G and H pawn for this G and H pawn, and then you slide your rooks over, and this king is naked over here, so you can just attack. And the same thing goes for black. He's trying to push these guys forward, and this queen's kind of in the way already. So with that being said, e5 is a good move, but I definitely like the way Spassky plays pawn to g4 here, saying, you know what, you're more than welcome to take this pawn, and if you don't, well, I'm going to play g5 against you, and I'm going to start my attack. And here, well, poor Petrosian could not help it. He goes ahead and takes the pawn. After this, it just seems like the game is pretty much over here. Every move is nice and forced, every move is making a threat, and the game does not last too much longer. Queen g2 got played, a nice idea, attacking the knight, but I think the real idea is to attack on g7. Knight back to f6, and rook to g1. Now we see that we have this very strong threat against the g7 pawn. I'm sure Petrosian thought he was very safe here, as his bishop is just defending. But here, when you're playing against attacking master like Spassky, well, things are not always what they seem. Here we go, bishop d7 got played, and now it's time to rip open. It's time for some more opening lines. Pawn to f5. A nice move here, trying to open up the game even further. And here, trying to grab more material is not recommended. In the game, Petrosian, seeing ahead, plays the best move, king to h8. Even by the computer standards, king h8 is the best move here to jump out of this pinning situation. Mind you, if you try to go and grab some more material, you're probably just going to get into trouble here. Excuse me. So, e takes on f5. We'll go ahead and say knight takes on f5 since that makes a nice little threat. And here you take, and now you see after something like rook over d to f1, well, you're got some really strong threats here. f7 is under attack. You have to be careful because the rook pin over here. Here there's really only one move to play, which is this queen to e5, and you can already start luring your opponent's pieces out the way. After this move, what do you play here? I like this move. Knight to d5. Putting pressure on f7 and saying, let's make some trades here. Because if you trade right away, well, you're most likely going to be winning at least a pawn back for your trouble. And here, the computer's giving this a +2 position. And you can just see that white's pieces are just so gloriously ready to attack. All right, back to the game. After king h8 got played, rook d2 f1 gets played anyways. Queen back to d8, trying to guard over here. And, well, let's open up the game. Pawn takes, and now another beautiful idea here. Here a clearance sacrifice. You can see that there's weak squares around here, but I need to get my pieces over there. And here, Boris goes ahead and plays pawn to e5 exclam. Look at this beautiful idea, giving double pawns to your opponent, but the real idea is trying to get the knight over here. So after d takes on e5 was played, knight to e4 exclam again. There's no stopping this guy. The lines have started to open up. We're at a +6 position here. All right, after this knight e4, black played knight to h5. Why can't we take over here? Well, taking over here is a pretty simple loss. Here you'll just go ahead and play, well, there's a few moves here you could play. Rook takes f6 is a move. The main idea being that they can never really take back because of checkmate on g8 here. Knight takes f6 is another very good move. And here the computer likes queen g6 the most, threatening the rook takes f6, and the knight can't move anywhere because then rook takes f8 gets played and queen takes g7 checkmate. So after knight e4, knight to h5 got played, but now you got a hanging knight. The queen again jumps to g6. This is just one of the weak squares, and you can see that again they're just having a very hard time in this position. Petrosian can't help himself. He has to take on d4 here. And here, well, can you find the best move? I challenge you to find the move that's just going to be destroying this position. All right, hopefully you push pause. Hope you tried to find it. Here the breakthrough was knight to g5. It's a very, very forced move, and it's threatening the checkmate right here. You have to take. And, well, taking on g5, now you allow a forced checkmate. Queen takes on h5 check. King g8. Queen f7 check. King h7. And here a final little flare. Rook to f3, just allowing a simple rook lift to play rook h3 for checkmate. And again, there's just nothing good here to do. The best you can do as far as computer standards is delay the checkmate for another 7 moves. You know, maybe something like g4 could get tried. This only helps out with the rook taking now. You have the rooks over here coming in. And the only way to trying to stop it earlier that was going to make the game last a little bit longer, mind you, was just something like queen f6. And of course, you just play rook takes, and you still have some of the same threats, and you have even more pieces to attack. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this game. We'll see you in the next one.